Mari, can you introduce ourselves to each other and
Okay,
to the
just
public?
okay. Let me see if it's everything online here on Instagram. Just hold on. I want to check if it's streaming correctly. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Okay, we are
Wait a
live.
minute.
Can you
It's
have already?
Matt.
Leo watching us.
We're still adjusting things.
We're still adjusting. We have a spectator already.
I want to have a visual effect like you guys have.
You need to click on these three dots. Yeah, you know.
Nah, you know what? It's Halloween. Here we go.
Yeah, that's good. Let me just find the
Perfect.
YouTube one. I think we can start in 1 minute. Okay, we are live now. Let me see. Is it streaming? I think we can. Okay. Yeah, now everything is on. And
Good.
I will cut the second after.
I zoomed my camera in too much, though.
Okay, so Matt, thank you first for joining us in our podcast.
Thank you.
As I explained you, this podcast there's the purpose of bringing experience from others and stories about overcoming and separation from a difficult season of your life and something that you feel proud of you. And you're a very interesting person to be here, I think. We want to hear a little bit about your background. Could you explain?
What do you mean by background? What are we getting into here?
Who you are?
Who is
how
Matt?
old you are?
Who is Matt?
Yeah.
Listens.
I am a young man who grew up here in Canada. I was born in Montreal, and I moved to Calgary when I was about 2 years old, and I've lived here my whole life. I've been in the fitness industry since I was 19, and it's always been a passion of mine. I've done martial arts since I was 4 years old.
Nice.
I come from a very complex and interesting family, and because of that, I have a very interesting life story.
Wow.
Yeah.
That we are anxious to know about. Which
Let me
art
put my
show
phone
marks
on
did you
silent.
do?
I don't want to be the guy whose phone. There we go.
Okay.
And which martial arts have you already done?
I've done pretty much everything. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's so many. When I was 4, my father used to teach Kung Fu. So me and my sisters, I have 2 older sisters, we started doing Kung Fu together. And I did Kung Fu until I was about 14. And then at that point, it was kind of, I was incapable of training and doing anything at all. So I stopped playing hockey and I stopped doing martial arts. And then when I was about 19, I started getting back into it. And at that time, I did boxing with this crazy Russian boxer who was a friend of mine.
Russia.
Oh, he was crazy. He was a crazy Russian man.
Russians are crazy.
He was good. He used to fight back home in Russia, and he was here just, doing what a lot of you guys do, just here to try to start a new life in a new country. And and he got me into boxing, and then from there I started training at mixed martial arts gyms, and I fell in love with Muay Thai, and now my favorite thing is jiu-jitsu.
Wow, jiu-jitsu, which is Brazilian style.
Brazilian!
Yay!
Brazilian style.
Yeah.
Nice. No.
Kung Fu, you learn how to also break things, right? Tables.
Not
Do you
really.
practice a lot
The
doing that?
Kung Fu I learned was Shaolin Kung Fu.
Oh.
So we never actually focused on breaking things. However, we had to hold certain forms. So we'd hold a stance and hold our forearms, and they would break stuff over our arms.
Yeah.
So
Which is
but
basically
not
the same.
as what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you're thinking is more like Taekwondo and karate.
Yeah.
And they really only ever do those things for demonstration purpose. It's not common to see it actually in the dojos in practice.
All right. I see.
But I can break things.
See, you have interest in so many martial arts, and you have done. would you share with us how did you choose the path of fitness? What brought you to this path? What inspired you?
Well, I mean, I have to give credit to my parents because when I was 4 years old, I was already introduced to things.
Mm-hmm.
So the passion could very well stem from just the fact that my parents had those interests. My mom used to be a college level athlete in Montreal.
Oh, I see.
But when she had kids and stuff, she just stopped having those passions, unfortunately. A lot of parents do that and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So because my mom put me in hockey and my dad put me in kung fu, I think that's what kept me physical and kept me in a sense of understanding that if you are physically capable of things, certain challenges in life become a little bit easier, because if you go through learning new skills and you go through challenges in a safe environment like martial arts or hockey, that translates into other aspects in life. I understood what it was to be a member of oh, hang on.
Which is nice. Let's put to the Halloween.
Yeah, I'm thinking when the kids start walking around, she's gonna go a little crazy.
Oh, they start already.
No, there was just people walking by, but we'll see what happens. So when I was playing hockey, I learned to be a part of a team, and you learn that the decisions and the actions you make impact more than just you. Because if I do something and I get a penalty, my whole team pays the price. So you learn a lot of these valuable skills, really, as a kid at a young age when you're in these different kinds of things. Then my passion to become a personal trainer and my passion to get into the fitness world came when I was about 17, 18. I think I was 8. Yeah, well, I always loved weight training, and I had good teachers. I had a teacher in high school named Mr. Penn, and he was like a bodybuilder kind of guy, and he kind of inspired me to start weight training a little bit, because at the time I was very skinny, very insecure. Like my wrist here was like my entire arm. I was a very small little guy. I'm a very small person, so it takes a lot for me to build my body, but I learned a lot from him. And then in high school, I had another teacher, Miss Jen Woods, and she was also a female bodybuilder, but she was also just a really good gym teacher. And she kind of helped me fall in love with the industry too. And then when I graduated high school, there was a point when I was 18 where I was living out of my car a little bit.
Whoa.
And my aunt and uncle, they helped. So once I had the courage to actually ask for help, I contacted them, and they told me I can go stay with them. And they have 2 boys, and their oldest son at the time was only 15 or 16, and he was really overweight. Like, he was over 200 pounds, and he should be, more like 170 pounds. You guys will have to convert that to kilograms on your own.
135 pounds.
Wait a minute.
Think of it like this. He was about 100 kilos, and he should have been more like 80 kilos, 75 kilos, in that range.
All right.
Yeah, maybe closer to 80, but yeah.
Yeah, he was fat. Yeah.
He was overweight, and he was a teenager who was overweight and insecure.
Yeah.
And it's tough being in high school and having that life. It's challenging for everybody. We've all been through high school. So they had some like old fitness equipment in their basement, and I started using it, and then they started getting curious about it, and then they started coming down, and I started helping them and teaching them and using these little tricks to make them realize that they're more capable than they think they are. It's always a mind game. And when my cousin went from 200 pounds and over 200 and started losing weight, he got down to about 170. His confidence was different. His posture was different. The food he ate was different. The influence he had on the rest of the house, his mom started eating better. His dad started eating better. I saw the effect of my passion to help people, and I saw how it changed more than just the person I helped, and it changed the lives around them.
Nice.
That's when I fell in love with it. So that's when I decided this is what I need to do. And I went on that task, and it wasn't easy. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy industry.
It's not.
It's not. And especially in today's world, we have so many people that are provided so much comfort and ease that to motivate somebody to change so many aspects and to become healthy, it's hard. So what I do is very rewarding, because when it works so well. But it's a difficult thing to motivate people when the rest of the world is kind of telling everybody to sit tight and relax.
Yeah. Eat this pill, you lose weight. Don't need to exercise. Or just
But you go through 45 minutes of pain, and the rest of your day is easy.
Yeah, just 45 minutes.
Yeah, some people see the pain, they don't see the results, the the future where they get better. And
it gets better. It builds a foundation, a mental foundation. That's the whole reason I love working out. It's not about changing my body. That happens on its own. And some people, they focus on that, and that's okay. But that's not what I promote. What I work for is just to help people challenge themselves mentally, and then their body will change physically.
So when you saw this magical change around you from your friends, and especially inside your family, that you changed the whole family, not only your cousin, right? So from that time you decide, oh, this is my purpose, and I will follow this passion. And how did you start your business related to, even though you know how challenging it is nowadays, especially?
It was a weird adventure, because originally I wanted to be a police officer.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
That's always been what I wanted to do, because I thought that would be a great opportunity and a great career to help people. And when I went through the process of applying, I was a little bit young, so that made it challenging when I applied for the Calgary Police Force. And then after that process, which didn't really go well, I was kind of lost in the process. When I was about 21, I applied for RCMP. And at the time, I was just working at a carpentry shop full-time, and then I was training part-time, and I was working at a hotel in the evening. So I had 3 jobs. 3 jobs!
I cannot complain anymore. No,
I slept for about 4.5, 5 hours a day is what I slept for at that time. But thankfully, it worked out. You know, I managed. I had my naps when I had to, but
you managed and still to live.
you do your best, right? So I wanted to be a cop so bad, and then when I applied for RCMP, I went through the whole process. I scored very well.
RMCP? What does it mean?
RCMP is the Canadian Federal Police. So when you think of America, you would think of something like the FBI.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
In Canada, the RCMP is the equivalent. It's a little bit different than the FBI would be, but it's the federal police.
Oh, right.
So if you go outside of a big city and you go into like a smaller town, or just on highways and stuff like that, they'll have things like highway sheriff, highway patrol, and they'll have RCMP.
Okay.
So it's a federal police force is the easiest way to explain it, which is it pays better.
Yeah, sure.
But I wanted to do that, and I went through the whole process. And when it came to the finalization, they basically give you a call and they say, you know, you show up for the academy on this day, or we rejected you. And I got rejected. And when I had some friends who knew some people, I wanted to know why, because they didn't really give you clarity on why. Yeah. And what rejected me was a family history.
Oh.
So because of my father and his father's criminal history and my grandfather's siblings' criminal history, I got rejected.
Wow, that's so unfair.
That was the only point to reject.
Yeah.
It's very unfair. And in their defense, they did say apply again within 3 years, because if you apply, you have to wait another 3 years to apply again. So I could have kept trying, and that might have done something. It doesn't mean that there's no way I could have got in, but at that time I couldn't get in.
Oh.
And when you get rejected, it's hard to think about why, and that it's probably pushing you the right direction. So at the time I was upset about it. But then I started realizing that I still have the freedom to decide what I want to do. And I took that opportunity and doubled down on the training. And I started posting ads on like Kijiji and stuff like that, which in the States would be like Craigslist. Yeah, I started putting it all over. I bought car magnets and I put like these for my company. Like you get the advertisement. It'd be like this on the car magnet. So you have it all around the car and stuff like that. And then I met a few people through that process and I started training them. And so it went from part-time to closer to full-time. And then I wanted to start getting more experience in the industry. So I started applying at gyms and I went through all that journey. When I started different businesses along that way, because originally I started Went Fitness because my last name is Went. And that was how I did the, just the in-person training and go to people's homes and training and stuff like that. And I did that for a while. And then I wanted to get more experience inside of a gym because I never really spent much time in that setting. So I was still doing my training with Went Fitness, and then I was doing the other stuff. And then I started realizing that I didn't like those gym environments.
You didn't like it?
I love the people, but the whole process is like, I want to help people, but I can't help them unless they can pay me like $80 an hour, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
In Brazil,
not for everyone. And it's not only here. Brazil also is very expensive, a personal trainer.
Yeah, but in Brazil, if you go to a gym, there's trainers there to help you. You can pay for your personal trainer, but there's also trainers. The gyms I worked at, I would be out on the floor offering help, offering guidance, not even trying to sell them on a membership, just helping them. And I got in trouble for that. I was told I'm not allowed to help them if they're not paying me.
Oh, I see.
What?
That's not why I do this. I'm not in this industry to get money and then help. I'm in this industry to help. And as a result of my passion, I'll make money and make a living. So culturally, I didn't really fit in that paradigm of working at a gym. But then I had an opportunity to manage a gym, and I managed 2 gyms at the same time. And that was different because I got to pick the people. I got to build the team, and I got to make sure that the people that worked there were as passionate as I was about helping people. And that was beautiful, and I loved it. But then COVID happened.
Oh, shit.
Before COVID.
So this all started because COVID happened. And I couldn't sit around and wait for COVID to go away. And thank God I didn't, because it's still here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And this gave me an opportunity to help people everywhere that are in their homes. And some people that want to go to the gym but can't. But a large demographic of people are people who just want to work out in a good, safe environment with some guidance and some direction from someone who knows what they're doing, from the comfort of their home.
Yeah, and the price is so accessible, I think. And could you explain a little bit for people who are watching us? I see you here.
Explain what?
About what is Honestos Fitness now. What do you offer? What kind of value? I want to explain it first, and then I will tell you my feedback as being.
I was going to say, why don't you tell them? You're a member. Make me sound like a salesman. It's a very simple thing. If you think of Netflix, it's a similar aspect because all the workouts are there for you to do. What makes it different, however, is I guide you and direct you. I also host 2 lives a day, and the live schedule is going to change as time goes on, so I can host more, so I can hire trainers to host at different times. There's a lot of stuff I have in mind, but it's a young company, so it's going to take some time to get those things moving. I host twice a day. The workouts are recorded, uploaded to the website, so you can do them whenever. The workouts change every single week. It's from drastic amounts, and you can explain that to them if you want, because she's gone through it, so she knows what I'm talking about. And all you need is minimal equipment. You need some dumbbells, you need some bands, and you just follow my lead. All fitness levels work. This isn't something that only a group of people can do. Everybody can do it. And because everything's recorded, it's so convenient that you can, if you're home late from work and you got a tight schedule, you throw food in the oven, That my oven's over there behind this castle. The oven's behind the castle. And then you do the workout, and then you eat, and then you shower in your own shower. You don't have to drive anywhere. And it's only $49 Canadian a month. So for American viewers, it's like $32 or something like that. It's very affordable.
It is.
And you get full access to me, so you can talk to me whenever you want. You can invite me to your podcast whenever you like.
Yeah.
You just become a part of a community of a health and fitness industry that's not trying to sell you crappy trends or trying to give you, stupid products. I'm doing what I love. And I think when you come and experience that authenticity, you kind of just fall in love with everything.
Right. So that's where your name for the company came?
That's right. Honestus. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a name. And when you go on like the Google domain search, you could spend days.
Yeah, I've tried.
Everything's taken, man.
Everything.
Because I was thinking like honest, just the word, honest. And then I was thinking like integrity. And because the fitness industry is so cluttered with people who, they just use steroids or illegal supplements or enhancing supplements. And they got a nice body and they're in great shape, but they don't actually care to help anybody. It's about them. And then they get sponsorships and they sell products. They're not trying to help people's lives improve. They're just trying to make money off a product. And for me, that's disgusting. It's taking advantage of people's insecurities, not actually helping them. If somebody asks me for help, I don't say, yeah, we'll get you there in 30 days. Like, no, this is a lifestyle. Let's get you into a good routine and a good habit and stay focused. And then when you get to the point where it's hard to stay focused, I'll help you get through that, because that's the reality. It's not a 3-month journey and then see you later. You're good. You never have to work out again. It's about building it into a lifestyle. And when you have that lifestyle, you
don't want to leave anymore.
Yeah. And like,
when you get the lifestyle, you don't want
to just become a better version of yourself. You'll be a better mom or dad, or you'll be a better student. Your brain works faster and processes information quicker. You crave different food. Everything changes, and it doesn't have to be crazy. You could show up 3 days a week. You just have to have a consistent routine, and then you live a long life.
Yeah, I want to share here my feedback, because actually,
yeah, me too. I want to hear it.
I want to share my feedback. Well, as you know, it has been 1 month around. I'm working out with you. Started. 2.
Been about 2. I could check when you signed up right now.
Okay. And at the beginning, I didn't told my story. I was struggling 2 years ago when Corona started, and too much stress working in Japan, no going to gym anymore. I always loved doing exercise before, in the past. I always was trying to eat healthy. I always could keep my weight. And when I moved to Japan and so many things happened, stress and struggling, and then Corona, I stopped going out, stopped moving. I started being lazy, extremely lazy. It not only affect my endurance, I saw affecting my brain, my concentration, and I was trying so many things to back to fitness. I tried several diets, keto, balanced diet, everything. It wasn't working. I know the main cause also was stress. But I wasn't feeling motivated to keep trying. And then I just I don't want to try anymore. I bought a treadmill. In my apartment, I had a treadmill. I was trying to do everything.
In Japan?
Yeah?
In Japan, you had the treadmill?
In Japan, I bought a treadmill in the tiny apartment. But nothing had effect. So I met Jessica online, your ex-wife, and then she told me, my husband, he's a fitness training. Watch his videos. He's very motivating. I started following him on Instagram before moving to Canada. And when I moved here, and I said, okay, it's a new life. Let's try it again. Back to fitness. My cousin, actually, she has very interesting story about her fitness journey as well. Giovanna, she's watching us.
Oi, Giovanna.
Yeah, she really one herself, and she was trying as well motivate me. She wrote a book about how she did that, and she was trying to motivate me at the beginning, but she also was busy. She's not personal training as well. And then when I started doing your videos, like, okay, I'll give it a try. I saw the price, like, whoa, it's very affordable, actually. And when you said it's live lessons, like, yeah, this is different. I never tried live lessons with someone. Let's try. And Matt, it was incredible because I didn't want to stop doing. At the beginning, I confess, maybe the first week I missed some workouts, but as long as you was there, you were there in live. You see what I'm doing wrong. You see when I'm trying to give up. You want to keep pushing. One more. And when I do the videos, even though it's recorded, you keep this motivational. But it's so different when you're live. I see your business like it works. It works for the laziest person ever I was. It did work, and you changed my life so magically. I start feeling so confident back again, confident and happy with my body, and seeing the change in so short time. It's like, I don't know even how to thank you. It's really,
You're gonna make me cry.
you
on your
really
podcast.
changed.
Are you seriously gonna make me cry?
No, me too. I'm emotional. But what I would say that I am passionate about your passion. You should spread this much more.
Now you're crying.
Now everybody's crying at this one.
Don't cry, Nicholas. Yeah, and it's really what you offer. It's something very different, and I know what's different is the passion you have. I've never seen someone so passionate in this business as you are. So you deserve all the success you can have it. And I want to know, how do you keep yourself so motivated? I know you have hard times, as everyone does. How do you keep this strength inside you? Where came from this strength to keep stand up every time difficulty happens and not let pollute your heart?
I guess just life. You know, my story's different than most. And a lot of people who would go through the things I've gone through would see them as negatives. And I got to a point in my life where I realized that that's a choice. Obviously, people have different levels of trauma, and it's hard to see some of the most extreme things as positives. But in the grand scheme of life in general, you can really only choose to exist in one of two forces, and one is love and one is fear. I grew up in a household where my father's a drug addict and my mother's an alcoholic. But despite their challenges, they're very beautiful, loving people. They just never were able to heal themselves. They were never able to forgive themselves, I think. And when you know their life story and you know what their parents were like, you can choose to be angry or you can choose to be understanding. And I'm not a religious person. I've never been a religious person, but I am a very spiritual person, which I know is so cliche to say. So in a sense, I guess it's my own religion, where some people would say, like, you know, God gives us the challenges that he knows we can handle. For me, I just say the universe does it, or I'll say God does it. It's not offensive to use the term, so I'll use it. But when you go through the things I've gone through in my life, and more I always try to relate and think about my stories and how those stories give me more to offer others, the more you realize it's all a blessing. And even when I was going through it, I remember reminding myself, like, oh, you're a kid. This is out of your control. There's no blame. There's no guilt. It's out of your control. When you're an adult, you can change things, you know? And that's why, like, at a young age. My first job was when I was 13.
So young.
Yeah. And I used to do stuff before then. I remember this story always makes people upset with my parents, but you'll have to forgive them.
Yeah, of course.
When I was about 9 is when life got a little bit crazy. My father's addiction came back and started winning again, and it caused a lot of tension. And when I was about 10 and a half, 11 years old, they officially separated. My mom and I went and lived in Calgary housing, which is like a supported housing for people that are either going through domestic issues. Like not that my father was ever physically abusive or anything like that, but like there's just different communities around the city where it's assisted living and it's affordable housing and stuff like that for people going through hard times. So I lived in Calgary housing basically from 11 until I moved out on my own. And this particular time, I was still playing hockey at the time because my parents, it was early in their divorce. There was things they were trying to resolve in life. So I was still playing hockey. My mom ended up meeting a guy on my hockey team. He was a father of one of the other teammates of mine. And they started spending time together. And my mom, now that I'm an adult and I can realize these things, she was lacking a companion. So she started staying at his place a lot. And in that process, I was home alone a lot. So at about 11 years old, I'd come home from school and just be home. And it got to the point where the fridge would be empty and I would have to do something to eat. And so sometimes I would just go to a friend's house and just say that I wanted to hang out or whatever after school, and then their parents would feed me, not a big deal. But it started getting to the point where I couldn't do that every day because the parents were like, you can't be here every day, Matt. You got to go home. So the parents started, and I didn't have the security or understanding to explain to somebody, hey, there's nobody at home and I got no food there. I don't know what to do. So what I ended up doing was I took my neighbor's shovel. So I would steal my neighbor's shovel, and thank God for Canada and all the snow we get, because I would go door to door asking for money to shovel sidewalks.
Wow.
And I wouldn't make a lot, but I would make enough because enough people would say yes to the kid with the shovel.
Yeah, of course.
And I would shovel as many walks as they would let me. Some people would give me $1, some people would give me $5, somewhere in that range. And then at the very, very end of the block, there was a gas station. So I would go into the gas station, and depending on how much money I had, I would buy one of those frozen microwavable Michelinas. Shout out to Michelinas.
Wow.
And if I had enough, then I'd also get a hot chocolate. And then I'd take those home, and that would be my dinner. And that was my life on a more than should be regular basis when I was about 11. And I don't even bring that up to my mom. I don't express that to her. She doesn't need to have guilt. These were my challenges for whatever reason. So we can be upset with my family, but it won't do any good. So I learned at a young age that when we're going through something, if you just reach out a little bit, people are going to help. Even if they don't know they're helping, they'll help. And that's what makes community so important. Please remind me what your original question was. How do I stay motivated when life is hard?
I'm fascinated because a kid in your place easily would go to the wrong side, right?
Maybe. But the beauty of it was I had good influences. I had a good principal when I was in junior high that knew something was wrong. And he sat with me and he spent extra time with me and he taught me to leave my luggage, my problems outside. And when you come into class, come to learn, come to be better. Don't bring so although my challenges seem extreme, what made them less extreme was that I didn't go through them with all these other people that went through the same things and turned out bad. I went through them kind of in private with some good influences that were there to support and help and give advice and show love. And I had girlfriends that I would go to their house, and friends I would go to their house and see a good family example. So I knew that it wasn't all life was. That's why it's so important to be kind, to be caring, to be loving, to just give support, even if it seems like someone doesn't need it, because I did, and I didn't have the courage to ask for it, but thank God I got it.
Yeah.
So life, I've always told myself since a pretty young age that no matter what happens, I won't let things beat me. You know what I mean? You lose a few rounds, you get knocked down a little bit or something, but like everybody's going through something, and I've always overcome challenges by helping others overcome challenges.
This is life. I believe the same. This is life. I believe that we are all interconnected with each other.
We are all
learning and helping at the same time, several people at the same time, as long as we keep this heart that we are here to serve.
Yeah. And, I went through a lot, and I learned a lot from everything. Thankfully, I've always been self-aware to learn. So now I'm at a place in my life where, because I know who I am, and I know that I got a good heart, I know that I'm passionate, I just know who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing, that all these other things that happen around me, I know aren't my fault.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why it's so easy for me to stay strong. If I cause pain and I create damage, then I have guilt. And if you have guilt, then you have regret. And if you have regret, then you're stuck in the past and you can't move forward. Because I know who I am, and because I know that when things happen, they're not happening to me, they're happening for me. They're there as part of this journey, and I don't have control over it. I think because I have that like enlightened sense that it's easier to just, when pain happens, I go through it, but I know that it's just something I'm going to go through, and that it's okay, and that's normal. It's not weird or foreign. It's normal. And then you just kind of go through it.
You have no other choice than to go through it.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You can go through it with your head down and just keep swimming.
You can look down. Right.
Yeah. It's up to you, and if you need help, just reach out. Have the courage to tell somebody that you're feeling lonely, or tell somebody that you're having a hard day or a hard week. Because I'm sure there's other people out there that are going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing that are going to help you. Because there's two things. It's either you're going through something or you're heading towards something new that you're also going to go through. No matter what, it's just you're either in between or you're there. So it's kind of it's just part of this process of life, I guess.
Oh, Matt, you have a very impressive mind and vision of life. Really admire. I admire too.
Well, I live in Canada. I live in a place with a lot of privilege. So even though I've gone through so many challenges, I'm aware that because of community and because of good people, it's been easier to overcome it. If I lived in a bad community surrounded by bad people, gang life and stuff like that, that's different. So because I live in Calgary, Alberta, the worst community in this city is not so bad.
It's not so bad.
I grew up in Forest Lawn. I grew up in the poorest places that this city has. Wow. And when people talk about it, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Compared to what?
Well, compared to somewhere like a really bad neighborhood in like Detroit, where there's gun violence every day and stuff like that. There's a lot of places that if you grow up in those environments, it's hard to see anything outside of it. In Calgary, every community has like the estate homes, the townhouses, the condos, the like all mashed into one big community. So you see the different like socioeconomic differences, but we all live so close in proximity that it works. It seems like a good way to design community. It's not be careful going over to that side of the tracks or be careful across the street over there. It's fine.
Something I notice here is the sense of community. It's so strong. I'm fascinated by.
It's different.
It's nice to see.
And you'll find a lot of diversity. Sorry, Nicholas.
It's nice to see the design of the city helping us to help others, and it's a nice thing to
Yeah,
know that.
they do a good job with it, and that's the kind of thing that I don't think, because I grew up here. It's surprising that I even realize it.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
You can see that, notice it's
yeah,
rare. We usually don't notice what we have, right?
Yeah, you do have to take a minute, and but again, that's a perspective, that's a choice. You can look at the things that you're fortunate to have, or you can decide to complain about everything that isn't how you would wish it to be. It's up to
yeah.
you.
Where your focus is, right? Where what you're gonna keep thinking on the bad things or the good things.
Yeah, you're
You
gonna
have,
bring certain things into your life. You're gonna get surprises, but not all the surprises are good. Some surprises suck, but you just get through it.
oh, all right. Can you tell us some of those surprises that have happened?
Bad surprises.
The bad surprises are nice to hear, since they are in the past, have already happened.
Bad surprises are
The good
those.
you can tell as well.
Yeah, good surprises are great. Good
Yeah.
surprises are when out of nowhere someone shows up in your life and for no reason at all wants to help you. Like you. Those are good surprises. Bad surprises are the ones like you get that phone call that you weren't expecting, that a family member's sick or your aunt just died. Those things happen too. You got to take both, unfortunately. And that's all you can do. But what you realize with these surprises is there's certain things in life that are important. And there's certain things in life that aren't. And majority of us are so wrapped up in the distractions of life because we have this fear of practicality. We feel the need to fit into the current way that things exist. Rightfully so. We all want to have careers and we want to buy our home. We want to start our families. These are things we all want to do.
Mm-hmm.
They fall into that sense of practicality. And because many of us fall into the routine where, we have to work 9 to 5, I have to do this, I have to do that, we stop making time for things that really matter. And then you get those surprise phone calls. And when those surprise phone calls show up, you have regret and you get stuck in a moment that you can't change. This is why life, you have to make time for important things. You can go talk to anybody, go talk to an elderly senior citizen and ask them about their regrets and listen to their wisdom and take that advice. Because most of us are trapped in what we think is what we're supposed to do. And you got to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself what it is you actually want to do. What's important to you, not the external pressures that are telling you what to do, because those change every 20, 30 years, Just look at our parents' generation and their parents' generation. The flow, their practicality was different than ours. It's always changing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, we have 10 minutes.
But in 10 minutes, I'll open another.
You already gave it really
Video.
amazing tips. Yeah. But
I told you, I warned you, I can talk forever.
And it's so nice to hear you forever. I mean, well, I never had so many people watch our lives like today. I think
Cool,
they're
good.
enjoying. Wow.
I'm glad people like my stories.
Yeah, it's so nice. We should do it this more time again. And so let's hear from you your best advice to keep going.
My best advice.
Rather in a fitness level or in life level.
Okay, so my best advice to anybody regarding health and things like that, like health, nutrition, fitness, would be find a community that fits you. That's going to be the biggest thing. Find out what that community is, because the way to success is with others. It's very rare that anybody gets to their goal entirely alone. Very, very, very rare. Everybody's got a team. When you think of someone like Steve Jobs and Apple, you think of one name because they sell us on that name.
Yeah.
But he didn't do anything alone. He always had a team. These very famous people always had a team around them that either helped their vision become a reality, believed in them, believed in their vision or goal or whatever it was, or wanted to do the same thing and learn from them. It's always a team. So if you have a goal to lose weight or gain muscle or just build a routine, build a healthy lifestyle, find a community. If you want to find a community online, I'm here. If my community doesn't work for you, that's okay. I'll help you find a different one. If you want to go to a gym, maybe you're someone who wants to do CrossFit, or maybe you want to do martial arts, whatever it is you want to do, it's worth figuring it out. It's worth finding it. You have to find what works. And don't give up if you don't find it. If you want to play basketball and you go and you find a good team and you play basketball and that's fun for you, and then you start hating it, just change. Just try something else. There's a lot out there. There's a gym in every community these days, and there's so many resources out there. Avoid trends. If you're talking to a trainer who is just trying to get you to try the most recent trend, that trainer, although their heart might be in the right place, is just inexperienced, and they're just repeating the same things that are currently popular. Their passion isn't there. They might think they're passionate. They might truly believe in themselves that they care. But this health thing has been around for years. And if they're only promoting the modern trends, then they're just not in it for the right reasons. And they're probably not going to be a trainer for very long. So find someone who actually loves this industry and is passionate about it. Find a passionate teammate and a passionate coach or leader, whatever it is you're looking for. And thirdly, when you find something, you're going to have a roller coaster. There's going to be moments of huge motivation, huge inspiration. That's going to go away. When it goes away, don't panic and quit. You've got 52 weeks in a year. If you take 1 week off, don't quit. Just get back on for the next week. It's okay to rest. It's okay to have trauma and life problems and mental health time and recovery, family time. It's about routine. It's not about perfection. It's just about showing up and doing your best within your paradigm and your life. Yeah, I think those are great three.
So great tips.
Take it to myself.
Yes.
We need to know about
It happens. I got sick last week. My routine fell apart a little bit. It happens. But I'll be fine. I'll be back there Monday, double kicking your butt. Double kicking. Will be fine.
That's important. Stand up again, much stronger than before you felt.
Yeah, don't be so hard on yourself, man. Things come and go. Times, what are you going to do? If you're on your way to work and there's a crazy storm or a big accident, you're late. Do you worry about it? You just get there when you get there.
Yeah.
Just get there alive. Don't rush.
An interesting point you mentioned was about people having to find their passion, and when they find their community, it's like they are finding themselves, right? What do they really like to do? Oh, I like to do some sports. I like to play soccer. I don't like it so much, or I had an experience that wasn't so nice while playing football, so I'll try maybe another place, maybe another sport. Oh, I'm better at this, I'm better at that.
And every sport, everything you do has a different community. You're just going to meet more people.
Yeah.
And the more people you meet, the more resources you have, the more support you get. And if that community is not for you, that's okay. Just go to the next one. You don't have to ever be alone in anything you're going through. You do have to have the courage, though, to present yourself. Yeah, you have to have that courage to sign up for the sport, or to walk into a new gym, or to even just make a phone call and ask some questions about a facility. You do have to have that initial courage, There's a famous quote that, I shouldn't say it's famous, but there's a quote I heard not too long ago. And the lady who came up with the quote, she's a intervention specialist. So that's when the family gets, the one family member who's an addict, and they do an intervention. So she's an intervention specialist, and she said this quote, and I think it's so beautiful. Most people will not take part in their own rescue.
Oh.
That's the reality. And that's why I'm saying you have to have the courage to take that first step. Once you have that courage to take that first step and to just get out into the world a little bit, people will be there. They'll show up to help you. I had the courage to ask for help. I had the courage to put myself out there. And because of that, I've met so many new people, so many interesting people, and people that want to help. And, you know, I met one person 6 years ago who got me to take the management position at a gym. And because of that person and me working at those gyms and then that not working out, me starting this business, all these things led to this podcast happening right now.
Sure.
You don't have control over any of this stuff. And if I had a time machine and went back to try to make it happen, I wouldn't. You can't control it. You just got to go through it and respond to the things that happen. And what you can control, you should. The things you do every day, your actions, your choices, but everything else, man, enjoy the ride, because you don't know when it ends and you don't know when you get off. You don't know when it goes around in a loop. It just goes.
I think it's a lot of lessons, not only on fitness, but also about life that you're giving us. How to
For me,
go through
everything
it.
I do related to fitness is a translation and metaphor for life. When I'm doing push-ups and my arms are saying I can't do anymore, my brain now, because I've trained it, says you can do at least 5 more. You can do at least 10 more. Go through the pain. And now when life hits me hard, I just tell myself, this is nothing. I go through this pain.
That's a good training.
Yeah, if you're at a job and you're confident in yourself, you're not insecure, your job process, the applying for the job, the interviews.
Hey, Mari, that's for you.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. But so many things translate, you know, and that's why I say, like, you know, doing a 30-minute, 45-minute workout, it's not just the workout. It's all here. And then how that ripples into life is beautiful. It's so beautiful. But you have to for me to say it is easy because I know it. I feel it. And it's hard for someone to understand it if they don't go through it themselves. You know? It's complicated.
For those who, but they can notice your passion, they can notice your feelings, and I think they grasp something of it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of clients and members over the years express that to me, that it's rare for them to feel comfortable with somebody, especially of the opposite sex. Like when you go to a gym and you're a girl and you're trying to get help, and some of these gyms just have, I would say, unqualified male trainers who they want to hit on you. They don't want to help you, unfortunately. So I've built a good relationship with a lot of people because of that. It's about to end, you guys.
Just a second.
Are we resetting?
Yes, we are resetting. Just a second.
Bye, at least, Nicholas. Send me the link.
Okay.
I still have my WhatsApp open on my desktop, so.
Okay.
Okay. No. Now, yeah, let me put your hair.
Hmm.
We could have did this on my Zoom if it would have.
Yeah, I think we need to start paying this, or Zoom or Teams, because always we go beyond the time.
Yeah, because I have like the premium Zoom, so I can
Ah,
host a large group. So if ever you
Oh.
guys have me on as a guest or whatever again, I can host it too. Because
okay.
I'll talk forever.
You have so many interesting stories. Wow.
I do. It's a blessing.
It is.
It is. But I have so many that sometimes I just have to pull when it relates.
Ugh.
So if someone's going through something, I kind of I'll be like, this reminds me of a story, and then I'll share it.
All right, you can start.
What we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't even know where we finished off there.
Conclude here.
Does everybody have to rejoin, or it's a totally separate thing?
No.
The YouTube is separated. The Instagram, I bet they will have to rejoin, and I'm
Yeah.
sending the link right now.
I'm unfamiliar with the whole process.
I need to translate this.
Yeah, we need to find a better process so it doesn't stop. Maybe on Skype or some other.
Well, Zoom works, but
Zoom
I
works.
think you have to pay,
You
right? I think the basic Zoom,
it does.
there's no
It's
stop
also.
time, is like $10. Because my Zoom is $50 a month, I think.
What's a month? Wow.
Yeah,
it
because
won't
I have like the
stop.
business. Yeah, I have the business one or whatever.
Because of the business.
Okay.
Yeah, you need a very strong streamer platform. Okay.
It's fine. It works. And it can support up to like a certain large group in one screen.
Oh, that's this point as well. There's a limit, right? If you're not super premium.
And then you could pay to increase the limit. So my goal is to have so many that I have to buy a big projector.
That's cool.
Cool.
Because when I open a gym, I want to have. I never want to stop doing online. So when I actually open a gym, one wall is going to be just a big screen.
Oh my god!
So that people can come on and still do it. I'll just be instead of doing it out of the gym I built.
It will be like a concert.
Yeah. Totally.
That'd be cool. It's good to have this vision.
It's a nice goal to aim for.
It's so bad right now. The Western culture is really struggling with health. So we need that. We need that excitement. We need people to want to have a workout and hang out and dance with me a little bit. Dance break.
Yeah, I think that's something we're lacking. I don't know if it's only on Western cultures, but this motivation. And they don't teach this on schools for us, right? Where do we get this motivation? How do we keep pushing forward? Where do we get this?
Yeah, they don't teach
strength?
a lot of that. They don't even teach you about your taxes in school. You
Yeah.
gotta learn a lot on your own.
I think this is a nice thing that schools should teach as well. So
personal development. It should be part of the education to teach people to look within to figure out their goals and passions in life. Because to expect a kid right out of high school to have their whole future figured out is insane.
It is.
It is. I think that's a big part of why we have such a large mental health crisis nowadays, because there's so much pressure to get everything figured out. And being someone who had nothing figured out and coming from a family where like going to university was not something I ever thought possible in a million years of my life.
Wow.
Actually, here's an interesting fact. I'm the first male went to graduate high school.
Yay!
The first man in my family to graduate high school.
Change that.
Well, that's not an achievement. That's a baseline.
It is an achievement.
That's basic. But I didn't think that. I thought I was just going to be a construction worker for the rest of my life.
Oh my gosh! No, such a waste.
I had no hopes and dreams. It's hard to have those when things aren't good and you're 16, 17.
Yeah.
You found this purpose, really.
Also, with your background family, it gets a little bit tougher, but Yeah, you manage it.
I mean, it does for some, but there's also some really cool, inspiring stories of, famous people like Oprah. Oprah's got an amazing life story.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go through hell and it helps them become very powerful people.
Yeah, and I think there's a purpose. People who go through this kind of hell, you went as well, and many other people as well. I think those who overcome that are here to be as an example.
I think,
Motivate
yeah,
others.
sure.
The whole purpose of this podcast is like that. Like I overcame so much in my life as well. And I thought, like, I see so many people like giving up on their dreams just because they are in a situation they cannot see yet any new dreams. I was in this kind of situation for
I
9
think we've all been
months
there.
in Japan. Like, I didn't have any dreams. I felt dead. Like, I don't know even how. I just keep doing like a zombie. Like, okay, something might happen. Something might happen. And then happen. And it happened the way I wished, the way I always wanted. And like this proved to myself that, wow, I want to show this to everyone. That if you are going through hard times and you keep doing, even if you don't feel like and you're a zombie, just walk, just keep walking. You will find back the dreams you want and you will reach them. Just give up. I think.
Yeah, there's a saying that says, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Keep going.
Because if you stop,
you will be on hell.
Going, meet the big guy.
The worst thing to do is stop.
Nice catch.
Let's go, man. Get through it.
If you pass the big boss, you are fine. You'll be fine.
You know what's cool though is when you're going through hell and you can see people over there just out of reach saying, come on, you're almost there. Because then you don't feel alone. You can see the way out. That's why it is important to have things like this. That's why it is important for people to share their stories and share why they've overcome things and share how they've gotten stronger as a result. Because then anybody going through it that right now might be, in their bed, depressed, thinking the worst thoughts. And all of a sudden they just hop onto YouTube for a second and look up motivation and boom, there you are sharing a story. And they're like, wow, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, this guy went through something worse than I. Why I cannot?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe worse, maybe easier, maybe harder. But the bottom line is another human being went through this. So if they can do it, I can do it. And if I can do it, you can do it. And then you can do it. And if it's hard to get through, then ask for some help from someone who's gone through it.
I think that's the secret. Ask for help. We are taught to be strong, to not show our weakness. At least in Brazil, we don't have this kind of culture to show we are going through a hard time because everybody will go away from you.
There's a lot of cultures that kind of still have that. Like I have some friends who are Korean, for example, and it's like the Korean culture, and this is kind of a generalization. Obviously, it's different for people in different experience, but from their story and what they've told me, their experience was like not to express it. Deal with it yourself, because they're young girls. And it's like, no. You're not allowed to complain. You got to go through it, keep it within. And unfortunately, that culture doesn't translate into a strong mental well-being.
No.
There's things you can deal with yourself. You don't always need help. And it's good to teach somebody like, hey, just because you're having a hard day, fight that with your inner self. You can overcome that yourself. But if you're going through pain, it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay. We have emotions for a reason. We weren't designed this way. There's a reason why the muscles in our face can look sad. Because it's a way for us to show our community, our tribe, that something's wrong. There's a reason we can smile so that everybody around us can see, oh, they're happy. This exists for a reason. Biology exists for a reason. All of this grand design has a purpose. You could tell I'm excited when I do this. There's a reason for that. We're not meant to hold it back. We're meant to have it expressed. And if there's any kind of cultural pressure, social pressure, employment pressure, whatever system you're in that tries to get you to not have these natural things is broken and wrong and needs to change. That's it. It's that simple. Broken.
Those are trends, like you have to be strong. Men have to be strong. They can't show weakness, which is show emotion.
Sure. Well, what's the definition of strength?
Yeah, we
go
to that point.
Pick big things up over your head. What's the definition of strength? Having the courage and inner strength to express yourself without the concern of others' judgment.
Yeah, I think that's a lot more difficult to do than pushing away sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ashamed to be an emotional person. I'll watch Moana and cry.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't care. And if somebody makes fun of me for it, I don't care.
That's the point.
You can't. There's an African saying that says, if there is no demon within, then the demons outside can do me no harm.
Oh.
If you know who you are.
Can you say it again?
If there's no demons within, the demons outside can do you no harm.
Oh, okay.
Can't be. My alarm's going off. You can't be harmed emotionally, spiritually, if you're already secure with who you are, if you already have certainty, if you already have a plan for your life and a direction you're going. Nobody can hurt you. I know I'm short. I know I'm bald. I know I have a big heart. I know I'm emotional. If you make fun of those things, I don't care.
You know who you are.
You're just a jerk for making fun of me. That's on you. I'm fine. I know who I am. So that's what it means. You know, if you know who you are and you have that sense of self, then even if your life isn't exactly where you would like it to be, you know, my life isn't exactly where I want it to be right now. And if you judge me for where I am rather than who I am, that's a reflection on you.
That's true. That's true.
That's a little more profound for some people to get the idea, but yeah.
Yeah, it can be. I do speak very profoundly.
Yeah, that's already a deeper level of understanding, but there's a lot of truth.
Look at this.
That.
Look at my emotions. What are you guys doing to me?
You're really setting this mood right now.
The sunshine is right at the front door now too, so it's coming in.
Right now, 2 degrees, and he's sweating. My goodness.
Hey, my house is warm. I have my temperature at 30. I feel like I'm in Brazil all the time.
It was profound, but you managed to express to make people understand.
I do hope it made sense to people what I'm trying to get across. I just find a lot of us are we go through hard times because we're trying to fit into things that we're not supposed to.
Indeed.
And when we know who we are and we know where we fit, and you know, I rather have 2 really good friends than have a group of 20 who don't actually care about me. There's little aspects of life like that when you lose your insecurities and you kind of let it all go, you really just find yourself in that. Jim Carrey has a beautiful quote actually that says, "Your need for significance will leave you invisible."
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's interesting.
Too profound.
Your need for significance leads to invisible.
Yeah, you just gotta. You're already who you're supposed to be. You just gotta double down on yourself. And if you're trying nowadays with social media and stuff, that quote is very powerful.
It is.
People want to get recognized for all these things, and they're not even being true to themselves. They're false recognition, you know. They go take a picture next to a car that they rented. They don't even own the car, and it's all about appearance and wanting to be seen so bad and wanting to be acknowledged so bad. it will leave them invisible. It might work. They might build a business. They might make some money. It might work in the short term, but in the long term, their happiness isn't growing. It's diminishing. They just don't realize it yet.
And they lose the sense of who they really are.
Yeah,
Because
they'll
they
get
are
lost.
producing something.
Yeah, the significance is in this way it's said, it's for others, not for himself, right? You have to find a meaning for yourself, not for the the group.
Yeah.
Like what others
Yeah, it's
want
you.
you. Yeah, it's about you. Okay, yeah. So that's how you get invisible, because you're doing for the others, not for you.
Yeah, you're trying to be seen for who you aren't, because you're trying to fit in to those different groups. And yeah, or you see somebody online who's successful in something, and you think, I want to do that too, but that's not you. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. I know a lot of people in the industry I'm in that are successful. They're doing it their way. I'm not going to try to do it the way they're doing it.
Yeah, you have your own way.
Yeah, I'm going to be true to myself, and it might not be a shortcut to success.
Yeah,
but
we're a copy of somebody else.
At least I haven't sold my integrity. At least I haven't lied to get ahead or taken advantage of a situation. I sleep well at night, knowing that I haven't hurt somebody to move ahead. That's important to me.
That will keep you further. That will take you further.
Maybe it won't. Who knows?
Oh,
Who knows?
I know. Yeah, I know.
You know. I feel you.
I know that I'll be happy though, and that's what I really care about.
Yeah.
As long as I can continue to do what I love and have a positive impact on other people's lives, then I'm happy.
And that's the key to go further.
That's it.
You always got it.
To be happy.
You're getting there. Just keep doing.
I will. I'm never going to stop doing this.
I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Because
it's beautiful. And I'm just going to learn more. I'm going to experience more. I'm going to have more to offer. It's just...
You have a lot to offer, for sure.
It's just growth. It's growth, and I love it.
Well,
Nicholas, I haven't heard a single story from you, Nicholas. I would love to hear one.
From me?
That's the time, Nicholas.
Oh my God. What about me? What would you like to know about?
Present yourself a little bit. No, I didn't present you too. Sorry.
Yeah. Just give me your basic introduction. It's our first date. Tell me about yourself.
Myself. Let's see. The same you did in the beginning. I was born in Brazil, São José dos Campos, a small city, not so small, but an average city in São Paulo. And I have lived abroad in many countries already. When I was 10, I went to Italy. I lived there for a year and a half, and I've lived in the United States for 3 months, just working as a waiter, as an experience. And I've also taught. I've also taught.
Yeah, taught.
Taught.
Like as a teacher?
Yes. In English to the people of a company in Turkey. So for a year, so I had a lot of abroad experiences, and because since I'm from a Japanese family, my family is always like a little bit more follow the rules, like structurally speaking, it's all square, and I have had friends that told me you're like this, and I was like, yeah. But I don't want to be so squared. I want to amplify a little bit more my mind, to understand people better, to get them to know their problems and understand their problems and try to solve it. And I've been to Japan where I met Mari, and there I worked as an electrician. So it was very different from everything I've studied. not so different because I have a telecommunication technician course, so I had some things that I could use. But I graduated in business administration, so it's people would say that I'm lost about what I want to do, what about my purpose. Well, you're doing this, you're doing that. What do you want with your life? What?
How old are you?
I'm 34.
Perfect time to figure out
Perfect
everything
time.
you want to do.
Yeah.
It's an adventure, man. What's the rush?
Yeah, the rush. What's the rush? If you have the time, what's the rush?
So what did your parents want you to do?
That would be a good start. But
Engineer,
yeah,
doctor.
my father wanted me to be an engineer. Since he is an engineer, since he was working in a company for 40 years in the same company, you know, the traditional families,
Yep.
you got to get in a company, work there, and build your career inside it. And
Okay, I have a very important question.
uh,
When you saw your dad growing up and you saw him working that lifestyle, why did you decide that that wasn't for you? Why did you decide that that structure that you saw your father going through, and I'm assuming your mom too, probably in a similar way, why did you see that and go, that's not for me?
That's interesting.
maybe it's a good question.
Yeah,
I don't even
that's
know if
awesome.
I can answer it. I have some clues, let's say. I passed through a phase of my life where I suffered a lot, but I didn't tell my parents. Like I was suffering in school, I was being bullied, and oh no, I think there was this culture of not telling the problems to others, which was nowadays it's really stupid since we're talking about getting help from the community, getting help from others, and but at that time they never tell me anything about why didn't nowadays they say why didn't you tell me at that time that you were going through these problems, and I was like, but I didn't want to mm, how do you say, to prejudice, uh, to
Concern them?
concern, to
Oh, burden, I think
burn
is the
them.
Burden?
word.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So I was like, no, this burden is mine. I have to go through it by myself. And
Yeah.
if yeah, and that's where I got to the point I went to study psychology. I became a hypnotherapist as well. So all this to help myself, which if I actually asked for help, I maybe it would have been easier.
Yeah, maybe. That's
Maybe,
that's
but
that's the courage, right?
that's part of the choices we make. I could
It,
have
it's a
nowadays.
cultural thing.
Yeah,
It's definitely a cultural thing, though.
yeah.
You know, I'm fortunate enough that even though my father was a drug addict and still is, he was still in tune with his emotions, and he would even. It's a hard thing to try to explain to people, but he would have great moments and bad moments, and in his great moments, he was always very emotional and would express himself and said, if there's anything you need, you can always talk to me. You can. So even though my upbringing was different than yours, mine had less structure, but I had a father that told me it's okay. Be emotional. It's okay.
Oh,
Your
that's
situation.
important.
So you see how
Yeah.
we have our own challenges to overcome regardless.
But we end up getting to the same point somehow. Like ask for help from the others. It's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just part of being a human being, you know? And right now there's kids being born. They're going to go through something similar, and then they're going to be 30 one day, and they're going to be in a good state of mind, and they're going to be able to help others. It's just probably part of this whole human thing.
Human thing.
We sometimes make it a lot more complicated than it has to be, more complex. We feel very important sometimes, but we could all just be part of a chain of things to be. So sometimes it's easy to just don't put so much pressure.
Go solving one problem at a time.
Yeah.
Don't let the problems take over. But that's really cool. That's really interesting. I have a friend who he's Japanese actually too. And his parents were very strict, and like you have to have the best grades in class. You have to be the best student. And like a lot of parents in a similar way, they put him into music too. So he's very good at piano.
Ooh.
Yeah, like very good. Like if he sees a piano and just Beethoven it, no eyes closed.
Oh, beautiful.
He's very, very talented, very, very, very special person. But he's so lost.
Yeah, because of that.
His passion is food. He loves cooking. It's a passion of his.
Wow.
Very big passion. And I just keep telling him to do it, but he has so much deep rooted fear that he has to live within a structure. So he's an engineer, and he makes great money, and he's got pretty decent flexibility in his work schedule now. And I just keep telling him, man, like, you have extra time, just start working on your hobby.
Yeah, that's how it started, right?
And if it turns into something great, if you can find a way to turn your passion into a source of income, you're going to be a very happy person. You're going to do what you love every day.
Yeah.
So I'm planting that seed, and every day I'm watering it a little bit. We'll see what happens. But it's true, man. I learned at I guess early mid-20s that everybody I know has challenges in their life. Everybody. And a good example is, like, I have a friend, and she has an amazing family. Her father is such a good man. As a result, she has a hard time finding a good man because he has set the bar so high that she can't find a good relationship. Every time she meets a nice guy, they're never good enough. Ever. They're never, ever good enough.
For
and
who?
Great,
for the father?
Guys.
Or for her? For her.
Because subconsciously, she had a dad that spoiled her so much and did so much and was so loving that she compares that to every man she meets. And as a result, she's had a really hard time finding a good partner in life. And she's getting older. She's in her mid-30s now, and she's getting more stressed about it.
Oh, my God.
And then there's people that grow up with a bad connection to their parents, and they find abusive relationships. And so even if everything's perfect or everything is perfect or broken, no matter what it is, it's up to us as individuals when we become adults to overcome whatever challenges those are and to become whole as people. It's our own journey. So, yeah, the point I'm trying to make is if you know somebody that had it rough growing up, or you know somebody that had it great growing up, no matter what, we all have behavioral challenges that we learn as kids that we got to overcome. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Just do that.
Just that.
Get it done by tomorrow. And it'll be good.
Just like this.
Done.
Okay. I'm going to start cooking.
I'm going to start cooking now, my hobby. Let's find our hobby and just
But sometimes, since you were saying about the Japanese friend, and sometimes they have fear of not being accepted by their parents, by that structure, by that group. Sometimes they fear that he'll be excluded, but for his love for his parents, right?
You might be. That's
he becomes a little bit afraid of.
It does happen. Growing up with the people I grew up with, and deciding at a young age that I will never use drugs, that I will never be a drinker, I will never do these things. It did cause exclusion. I did lose friendships. I didn't get invited to things. There's a lot of things that I was left out of because of my choices. This is just part of that journey.
I know. How do you feel?
And honestly, selling your soul, but that might be a little bit deep, but selling your integrity just to be loved isn't love.
No.
And, his parents, of course, they love him. But it's not an unconditional love. And the reason it's conditioned is because how their parents raised them. Eventually, somebody has to have the courage to break that chain. You know, I wanted to be a cop because my father's a criminal and his father was a criminal, and all of their family are criminals. So I said, I'll be a cop. Right? It didn't work.
Almost.
Somehow it worked.
But I broke the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a drug addict. I don't rob banks for a living. I don't do these things anymore. Well, I mean, I never done these things, but I don't continue to do the things that my dad did, and his sibling, or not his siblings, but his dad and all of his aunts and uncles and stuff did. I'm not a crime family guy. Eventually, somebody has to have the courage to break the chain. A good example would be immigration. Eventually, a member of the family had to choose to move to a different country and start a new life. Right?
Yeah.
You're Japanese, you grew up in Brazil.
Yeah.
Just think
My grandparents had the courage
that it took your grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? That might have been post World War II kind of situation though, right?
Around, yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So
after, a little bit after World War II.
Yeah, because that was when a large Japanese amount of people moved to Brazil. But that took a lot of courage for them to say, let's go start new.
Sure.
And because they did that, you are who you are today. Right? Like, people have to have the courage to break the chain and have to have faith that it's the right thing to do, and faith in themselves that they'll overcome that challenge. I can't imagine. I've never lived abroad like you guys. I can't imagine the bravery, the courage that it takes to say, you know what? I'm going to go move to a different country where I don't speak the language, where I might have a job lined up. I might not have a job lined up. I'll just go take on the world by myself. That's incredible.
But you know something that I learned from all these travel abroads? I was thinking, oh, maybe in another country I'll learn some more stuffs, but everything you learn there in Canada, you already learned and everything that you need to find yourself, which you don't need to live abroad. Yeah.
You have to know, you have to have confidence in yourself, because you know that when you get there, unexpected things are going to happen. You know there's going to be challenges. You know it. But you also know in yourself that you're going to overcome it. You have so much faith in yourself as an individual that you have the courage and the willingness to take on that challenge. Most people don't. Most people will be so afraid. And it's not that they're afraid of the world around them. It's afraid that they can't handle it. They can't overcome it. They don't even know what it is. And they've already told themselves they can't do it.
Yeah. This store is like, oh, I cannot do this. Like, but have you ever tried?
No, most have already convinced themselves they can't. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens, but I see it all the time. And I see it with workouts. The amount of people I've said, like, give me a push-up. I can't do a push-up. When was the last time you tried? And then they show me and I'm like, oh, whoever taught you didn't teach you properly. Let me show you the proper way. And then they do it. And then they do a real push-up and they're like, oh my God, I can.
That's amazing.
The amount of things that you're capable of that you've never even tried is incredible. You got to try things. You got to, when someone says, hey, can you do this? You shouldn't say, no. You should say, maybe, let's try and see. And then guess what? If you can't, at least you know you can't. At least then you're not lying to yourself.
To learn more, right?
Yeah. I've done a lot of things. I've done martial arts. I've played hockey. I've done gymnastics. If you said, hey, Matt, can you do a backflip? I'd be like, I haven't for a while, but I think so. I'll try. Because I know what I'm capable of. I've tested myself. I've tested the limitations of my body.
Okay, this way it didn't work, but maybe this other way it will work.
Yeah. If you want it to. There's a million ways to reach a goal. You know? If I tell you to go from my front door to my back door, you can do it. And you can crawl, you can run, you can walk, you can do somersaults, you can jump over the couch. There's a million ways to get from A to B.
Sure.
right? So why do we have a million reasons not to when there's a million reasons that we can?
Because
Yeah.
they still haven't seen the ways. They still don't.
They just don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
They've already convinced themselves that they can't. Why would you even try if you don't even believe it's possible?
Yeah, that's my issue. I always have with my mom. She always like,
My
I
parents too.
cannot do this. I cannot do this. Mom, you didn't try. Move. Let's try. Like learning English. I told her, learning English. I want to come here with me. I want to live here with me. And I started playing this language school. I cannot learn. I cannot learn. But after a month, like, how are you? Her English. Start a little bit, little steps.
A little bit of it, yeah. It's the compound effect, right? When you start and it starts so slow. It's so slow. It just grows. But all of a sudden, you get so good so fast.
Yeah.
But what happens is a lot of people get here and stop. And it just, they were just ready to, boom, break the mold, you know?
Effort, a little bit hardness.
I understand that feeling.
Comfort.
I do understand that feeling. I've been to those places where you just feel like you can't break through whatever it is. It's in jiu-jitsu, a good example. There's belts. To get to the next belt, you have to be able to do certain things. If you don't learn those things, you don't get that belt. Jiu-jitsu is probably one of the only martial arts still alive today where they don't just give you something. You have to earn it. You cannot just, hey, you've been here for 20 years, here you go, here's a black belt. No, you can't do the things that are required. You can't have it. That's it. Too bad.
Cool.
So you get to a point where you almost get unmotivated. You feel like, man, I've been here for so long. I feel like I'm not learning anything. Why isn't this working? They teach me the same thing every day and it just isn't clicking. And then, you stop putting so much pressure on yourself. A week goes by, you're in class, and it just happened on instinct. It takes time for our brain to build those new neural pathways, that new nervous system understanding, so that when something happens, it happens on impulse. It doesn't go eyes, brain, stem. It goes eyes, brain, stem. It skips the processing because it's an instinct. That's why we practice. That's why we learn. That's why a goalie, when the puck is shot, he knows where it's going to be. In soccer, you see how hard it is to be a goalie in soccer? There's something being processed faster for them because they train it than it would be for us. I would jump the wrong way every time.
Yeah, me too. Crazy.
Yeah, that's the subconscious part when we say about mind. We don't need to think to react, like in soccer, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, martial arts is really good for that because if someone's trying to punch you in the face, you got to be pretty fast.
Yeah.
But if you see their hand coming and you don't know to move or to block or give an out, like if you don't know what to do, you just get hit in the face.
Yeah, just waiting for call.
So you can't wait to see. You have to train so much so that as soon as you see their shoulder move, you know the punch is coming, and you've already moved. But it takes years. If somebody shows up and says, "Hey Matt, can you make me a good boxer?" Not today, but if you stick to it for a while, yes, because you have to train it. And this idea of training is the same thing in business. It's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in the gym. It's the same thing with relationships. Everything takes time and effort. And in today's society where everything is instant, right here, we've lost that understanding. You want instant results with your phone? Cool. You can play games on your phone and get instant results all day. But when it comes to the important virtues and aspects of life, you got to have a little bit of patience and faith in the process.
Dedication.
I think we are missing a little bit about that.
It'll come back around. It'll come back around. A lot of this stuff is new. A lot of it's new, and
mess it up with our mind. I think all this technology, all these easy, instant gratifications that we have right now.
It does. It has an effect. It has an effect. It has an effect on it has an effect on individuals, and it has a big effect on our economy and things like that too. On a bigger spectrum of community, it does have an effect. It also has a lot of positivity though, so we can't just pretend You know,
Sure.
it's cool that I can see what people that I haven't talked to since high school are doing
Yeah.
without having to call them and bother them. And it's cool to be like, wow, you had a kid. That's so amazing. Congratulations. There's value in these tools. We just have to train ourselves how to use the tools properly, right? If I give you a hammer, can you build a house? Sure. But you could also break one down. It's up to you. It's a tool.
Oh.
Right? We can't just blame the tools all the time. As humans, we do have to take some responsibility to how we use these things, right?
Yeah.
You guys could be doing an OnlyFans right now instead, but instead we're podcasting.
Why not?
Yeah, I did.
It's a choice how we use the tools. We
I
have.
think I heard the news of a professor, of a teacher, teaching on one, how do you say, those porn
The OnlyFans
sites.
one?
Not the OnlyFans, another porn site, and he was getting more views than
Wow.
Yeah, probably.
he was teaching math.
Gosh, really?
That
Wow.
works.
Yeah, it worked. I don't know why he didn't choose YouTube. Maybe because
Views, probably for the
Yeah,
views, right?
yeah.
More views,
Yeah.
more money.
That was a clever move.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Clever move.
Maybe we should move, Maddie.
Yeah.
To one of those
Yeah.
platforms.
Why did you move to Canada?
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was searching for this sense of community.
And you
I
thought
was-
the
I was-
Great White North?
No, that was this day. I was working so much, and my son came back home, and we just say hi. And after he went shower, I did something. I was so concentrated working, and when I stopped working, I was searching for him. Like, where are you? And I noticed I haven't seen my son. I haven't looked into his eyes, and I noticed and started thinking, this is not the life I want. I don't want to spend my life in front of a screen and not see my son, not being able to have a conversation with him when he come back, or not able to finish my work in time to have dinner together. And unfortunately, Japanese culture, it's all about work,
Yeah.
and you need to stay longer until your eldest or high hierarchy still in the company. Some companies, not all.
Yeah.
And you need to produce, and be the best.
I heard that the Japanese language has a word for work to death. It's the only language in the world that made a word for work to death.
Oh, I don't know this word. You know, Nicholas?
No, I don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might not be true. I mean, I just saw that somewhere. I didn't fact check it or anything, but I heard
I
that.
think it's true
Might
because
exist.
there was a case of this lady. She worked so much, she died at the company. And then the government are trying to stop with this kind of culture, but they have the rights, but they feel guilty if they leave before your boss.
Yeah.
And then I heard so many good things about Canada, especially about society. And I thought, yeah, this is the kind of society I want to live. And
I wish there wasn't, like, COVID has created a certain sense of separation here.
Yeah.
You know, before something like this, it did feel different. It is kind of weird right now. The whole world's kind of weird right now, but
It is.
Canada's
It's so welcoming. But the first time I stepped in Calgary, I felt so grateful to be here, even though I'm passing through so much hardship.
hardship. Yep.
Hardship.
Times, whatever you want. All of it works.
A lot. But other day I told my friend, she asked me, "Oh, Mari, I think you might be regretting to be here. I'm going through hard time too." And then I told her, I don't regret. Not even a little bit. I'm so grateful to be here because when I go out, people look into my eyes, they smile at me. I feel like I'm existing. While in Japan, I sit in the train, I look to people's face and I see tiredness, sadness. I don't know. Maybe
it's almost
because
like robots in a way.
Yeah.
It's very robotic.
Yeah.
It's very set.
There have times, of course,
Of
but
course.
that wasn't a culture that I would adopt. I never imagined myself living like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't what I imagined. And I start watching as well I know it's kind of fantasy, but Heartland. And I saw the values. And I got so into like, these are the values I believe.
But
The
then you
family,
moved
being together,
downtown.
helping each other.
But then you moved downtown. You didn't move to a farmland.
No, my dream is still, I want to live in a farm.
There's beautiful acreage properties all over.
Yeah, I
Canada's
really
huge.
want.
Canada's a big country.
Yeah, and
Doesn't have a big population.
here, and every day I fell in love for the city. I'm grateful I choose Calgary, really. I'm very happy to be here.
So your reason for moving here was just you needed a different culture, a different environment to be a
I
part of.
need warmness, people.
You don't move to Canada for warmth.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Warm, comforting embrace.
Yes, like that.
That's
That was
cool. That's really beautiful.
fun.
And where do you live now, Nicholas?
Now I'm in Brazil. I went back to my country, and I'm living with my parents right now. And I'm trying to find a job here, getting situated once again in the market. Yeah, it's been a little bit tough, but
What is your
let's find a
impression about
way.
Japan, Nicholas?
My impression about Japan.
Yeah, everyone has his own experience, right?
Good
Maybe
sushi, I bet.
Not that better than Brazilian sushi, I would say.
Brazilian sushi is the best. Did you try it?
Yeah, you know what though? Brazilians always say everything in Brazil is the best.
Yeah,
You guys are so patriotic.
we picked the pizza and made it better.
I really,
made
really
it.
enjoyed pizza in Brazil.
We
I
picked the-
very much liked Brazilian pizza, especially the white chocolate and strawberry.
Oh my god, that's so good.
That's Brazilian.
That's really
Invasion.
Brazilian.
So good.
But the sushis over there, they have a lot more variety. They have
Yeah.
some strange fishes which I've never ate
Seafood.
before, so
Yeah, that's true.
they have a lot of things that are nice in their own way. But Japan for me was work, work, and work. My proposal to go to Japan was okay, I'll go there, raise some money, and so then I can go back to Brazil and start my own business. Unfortunately, there were some problems along the way. But so Japan, I used to work from Monday to Saturday, almost every day, and I only had Sunday to like enjoy something. Um, but I still managed somehow to enjoy Japan a little,
Yeah.
like the cool place to go. The nature is very beautiful. There are a lot of places to visit.
It would just be better if it had a different work schedule.
Yeah, maybe
different
my
work
experiences
culture.
would have been better. I
I
work at
read.
Huh?
I read that the reason why Japan has that culture is because after World War II, they had to rebuild so much.
yeah, maybe.
Basically, had to rebuild the country, and it was work, 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 and they haven't gotten to the point where the change has happened. It's still in that cultural place, so that makes sense. I mean, I read that, right, and hearing from you guys, it sounds like that's still kind of a problem there.
Yeah, I think the regular Japanese is already working from Monday to Friday, but they feel guilty, like Mariano was saying, that if they leave before, they're
Yeah, my ex-boyfriend, he was
boss.
going to work around 8 and coming back around 10.
But
Yeah.
since I'm a gaijin, like a
To do that.
what? Another? Really?
Yeah, wow, this was the longest podcast. Yeah, this is Good podcast.
Brazilians over there, they still have this like, to get money I need to overwork. Like to raise money to go back to Brazil, I need to do some extra hours. Like my brother was also working there. He was like working a company where instead of improving the efficiency of the work, they prefer to no, let's leave it like that so we can have extra hours. Like that was
Wow.
some of the posture they were having. Some Brazilians were having.
Yeah, it wasn't about accomplishing the tasks. It was just about
It was more about saving,
just
raising
being
money.
there longer to get more money.
Yeah, some people
Yeah, that's
have that.
unfortunate.
But yeah, it happens. There are companies like that, and there's
Amazing
companies
country
like
to
others.
visit.
And we have to go keep finding the community that we
Yeah.
like, that we enjoy living on.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
man.
Are you going to stay in Brazil, or do you have plans to move again and live in the States or Canada? Or
Yeah,
have you re-fallen in love with home?
I had plans, but these plans are a little far to go to Canada. But I'm thinking, which ways can I go to Canada? There are not many ways right now. The only possible way was to get to pay for a course,
Yeah,
and
school.
that's
Visa, though, even that won't last very long, you know?
yeah, and it's a little more expensive for foreigners, and
I think it's like 4 times more expensive.
yeah. So I was
crazy.
like, okay.
It's weird because Canada always promotes itself as this like place for immigrants, right? Please come here. We'll help you. We'll make it easy. We want you to start a new life here. We want your skills, your love, your passions, your cuisine. We want every part of your culture. We want it here.
Yeah, they're very accepting.
But
And that's the sales pitch. And then you look into how to get there, and it's like, whoa.
yeah, but I think it's interesting because they have a process to filter the people who can get in. They only select like the best people to get into Canada. And
Sure. But what qualifies that? You know what I mean? Because are the best people the ones that already have degrees in things? Or are the best people the ones that are so passionate, that love a place so much they want to become a part of it? It's such a complex.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's too essential. It's too complex of a question to categorize, and that's maybe
in
that's
that sense they are choosing by degree, by having diploma, by having
yeah.
And you have a degree here. Your degree.
They're looking at people. They're looking at people on paper, and not. They're looking at people for where they are and not who they are.
Yeah, and what they have.
I understand. Yeah, and I understand that that's probably the easiest way to do it. It must be a very complex thing to try to select, who you want. But I don't know. I know a lot of people here that still don't speak the language and aren't really contributing much to society.
Yeah, I think it should be very well chosen.
Yeah, I think having younger, ambitious, hardworking, not necessarily hardworking, but just passionate people that want to work, that want to contribute, that want to build and start a life. I think that is more of something I would
then
want.
I bring another question. Do we already have an automated way, an automated form to select people like that? To select people by their will, by their sheer force? It's difficult to measure that in people.
Yeah. I don't know how
Personally, it's very easy. Oh, I can see that you're a very straightforward
person. They would have
person.
to do this.
Yes.
They would have to have these conversations and stuff like that.
By some program, it's kind of, okay, how will you analyze the capacity of this person?
I don't know if they could, but it would be interesting if they tried.
Yeah.
If they tried to implement a system. There's a company in the States right now, I forget their name, their stock's growing steadily. They don't use traditional credit score methods. They have a different method to measure whether somebody is worth providing a business loan to. And the company's doing very, very, very well. And the payback is like in the 90 percentile. So very few people make a late payment or miss a payment. And these are people that don't have good credit scores necessarily. They have other aspects that they take into consideration. So it might not be an easy process, but it is probably still something worth considering.
Yeah,
you know?
and fair, right?
Yeah, and even with that aside, just making university more affordable so that you don't have to be a rich person to come here and study. You could just be a normal person who's looking for an alternative country to settle down, to have that courage to start a new life somewhere else. The schooling doesn't have to be that extreme and that expensive.
Yeah,
you're not going to Harvard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're using their school to make a lot of money, actually. So many agencies here. They don't want to analyze your case. I try. So many immigration agencies, they just want, go to school. It's the easiest way. Pay $40,000 for 1 year and go to school. Like that.
How do you pay $40,000 and, and have the extra $40,000 just for living expenses?
Yeah. And you have to. And each head is worth some thousands there.
Yeah, and then all your books and everything. School's very, very expensive. I mean, in Canada, it's not so bad, university, compared to a lot of other places and stuff, but it can still be better. We can do a better job.
Really? Fun, very nice, actually. Welcome.
But among the countries, I think Canada is doing okay. One of not so bad.
Yeah, compared to places in Europe and US and stuff, it's definitely more affordable. In the US, you're paying $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 for a university education. Community college is even expensive too, right? Here you could go to like SAIT, which is kind of like a community college. It's a lower end style university, so it's a college, and you can take different courses there, 2-year courses and stuff. And it's not too expensive. Some of them lead to very high paid jobs too. It just depends.
That's nice.
Yeah, there's always options, but I still think it can do a better job. I think it's something worth considering to improve. There's nothing better than having a country full of very well-educated people. If you make education more accessible, you have more educated people, and you have a better population. If the overall population IQ is higher, you're probably going to be a better country.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but what the politicians think, they'll be harder to please, to control.
Yeah, they would have to evolve too.
Yeah.
The whole system would have to evolve into a better sense of community and understanding. That system worked, but now we have technology that connects all of us. We don't necessarily need independent representatives. You know what I mean? Can't the people just make votes? Do we have to actually have a mayor? And do we actually I'm sure with how technology is now, they could reassess it and find a different way to improve it, because a lot of systems are still very, very almost ancient at this point.
Yeah. I think it could start with some small cities, like where the population is not so big, that they don't have a lot of representatives, but what should they do?
If there's an emergency, if a kid goes missing, everybody's phone gets an alert. Everybody in the city of Calgary, in Alberta, will get an Alberta emergency alert. They could do the same thing when it comes to voting and stuff like that. You get an emergency alert and you vote.
Yeah, we need to decide if we're going left or right. Okay, left, right. Why? I don't know if some people would have more points to vote. Yeah, that would be for depending on their degree, depending on their career, depending on their knowledge.
I've discovered that a lot of people vote in self-interest, not group interest.
Oh,
they think what works best for them and their family and their
this call is ending.
we can end things. You guys don't have to keep this going.
Wait. We need to end properly. Just a second.
Thank you so much for your presence. It's so brightful.